Hello there. Welcome back to Taylor's Place. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Reddit to find some of the interesting places on the internet where Reddit users found their significant others. We'll look at a number of different stories and responses created by real Reddit users before AI was readily available. And of course, I saved my favorite post for last. If this is the type of content that excites you, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and/or share this video so that your inner circle can enjoy it too. What's your online love story? Did you meet your significant other on a dating app or somewhere else? I love telling our story. My boyfriend and I met in World of Warcraft in 2006. We became fast friends and hung out all the time in Ventrilo. We were definitely flirty then, but our relationship never really evolved beyond that. We each met other people, dated, and eventually got married and had kids with these new relationships. Over the years, there were a handful of times that we would reconnect briefly to say hi and see how the other was doing. These instances were usually small talk, and we would go back to our own busy lives with spouses and babies. In early 2020, we had one of those reconnections that ended up leading to so much more. I said hi, we caught up a bit, and I learned that he had separated from his wife and was single parenting. At this point, my marriage had been in free fall and was about to completely crash and burn. We talked a bit about our kids and our relationships and how our lives had turned out. I was still married, though, although it was awful, and he was dating someone. Again, we each went our separate ways, though our check-ins became much more frequent. World of Warcraft Shadowlands released in November of 2020, and he invited me to play with his group of friends. Our friendship quickly evolved from acquaintances to becoming very close with one another. In December, I officially separated from my husband, and my now boyfriend was my rock during that time. He helped me through the roughest point in my life as a wonderful friend and support. He offered such incredible insight, and I truly don't know how I would have survived that time without him. He and I officially began dating in June of 2021 after 15 years of friendship. Life definitely threw some curveballs at both of us, but we are so grateful that we found our way back to each other. We're now coming up on 2 years of long distance, with one more to go before we make the cross-country move. He is most definitely the love of my life. It is so normal to be nervous. I felt like I was going to throw up the first time I visited him. But it goes away, and I'm sure it will be amazing for you. We met on Reddit on a random r/Askreddit thread. We just couldn't stop talking to each other, and our replies were paragraphs long, and then he DM'd me, and we haven't stopped talking since. We meet in 3 months, Tinder, during the pandemic when they were testing a global feature. Don't think they kept it, but if anyone who works at Tinder is out there, it worked for at least one couple, ha ha ha. We met through Bumble. During the pandemic, I moved back home since all my classes were online, and it was cheaper to live with my family than alone. My hometown is 2 hours away from where he was living and also going to school. We chatted for a little less than a month before we went on our first date. He drove 2 hours to take me out to see a movie that he had already seen 2 times in theaters. It was still during COVID, and during one of the times, restrictions were lightly lifted. We spent the summer visiting each other whenever we could. As the summer ended, my university announced that we would be going back to in-person classes with masks and all that good stuff, so I had to move, creating more distance. After I graduated, I was accepted into a post-baccalaureate pre-med program and had to move even farther from him. He's graduating with a degree in education in a week, and my program ends at the end of this month. After 2 years of long distance, we're getting ready to move in together. We're lucky that we live in the same country and have access to things like the internet to make virtual dates possible. We don't have the longest distance between us, a solid 7-hour drive, but any distance is tough. I'm looking forward to getting to see him every day. Met him in real life when I saw him come into a local outdoor bar in a strange getup. Of course, I had to ask him about it. It turned out to be his work clothes. Well, his work takes him away for long periods of time overseas. But we had a few months together that convinced us both we'd like to be together. Luckily, he will no longer be working for this company. By the end of the month, he will be moving to my state so we can be together. It's been nearly 3 months he's been away, sometimes with no access to the internet. I adore him, and I'm ecstatic to see him again and see him every day when he gets here. I always think it's crazy we met at all considering the time frame. We both joined OkCupid a month apart. Both of us had a couple chats with other people, but nothing clicked. We both were using the site a lot less after only a couple weeks on it, and I was just thinking of closing my account the night before we spoke. I even passed her when browsing because I thought she wouldn't want to talk to me, and she ended up messaging me first. I had been single for about 10 years when I joined. She had been single for over 2. Considering neither of us tried to get involved with anyone for as long as we were both single, and how close in time we joined the site, I just find that really cool, because we could have so easily missed each other. I had never spoken to anyone on a dating site before that was so easy to talk to or felt so right. And at 32, I've been using dating sites on and off since my teens. I've always had bad anxiety, and online dating made things a lot easier. But most times, nothing came of the conversations I had. Either I'd date someone briefly, or it would never move past the small talk phase. My now wife and I were talking like we'd known each other our whole lives on the first day, and it took less than a month for her to turn around the severe anxiety I've had for most of my life. I was the kind of person that could only go out at night, struggled so much as to say hello to a cashier when making a purchase, fainted multiple times in public, and had anxiety attacks on a regular basis, about as extreme as anxiety could be. But when she and I started talking and she was on the other side of the world, I knew I couldn't let my problems stop me anymore. She asked me to talk on call a lot, which I was very uncomfortable with, but did because I knew I had to. She then wanted to video call, and I did that too. Inadvertently, she helped me to get over myself through exposure. Every step after the first was harder, but somehow easier, knowing I had someone to do it for. I did a lot of things I could never do before to get my life together and to prepare for meeting her. And in February 2023, I flew alone to Kenya to be with her. Before I met her, I'd never even dreamed of taking a long-distance bus on my own. I met her family while there, proposed, and now we're in the middle of a struggle to make it legal, because the Attorney General was a fucking goblin and decided to make life difficult for us. I'd fight to the death for her anyway, so joke's on the attorney, we're going to figure it out eventually. We were 14, met at church, knew her for about 7 months at the time. Little did we know at the time, but we both had crushes on each other. We were too shy to do anything about it, and our parents would not have approved anyway. Life happened. Her family left the church and eventually moved out of town. We lost all contact and never really knew what happened to each other after that. Fast forward about 8 years, I get a random Facebook friend suggestion. I sent a friend request and she accepted. I didn't expect anything at all to come from it. It had been a long time, so no real chance of anything happening. A week later, she sent me a message saying hi, and then she just wouldn't stop talking. We saw each other for the first time in all those years about a month ago. Who knows what the future will bring, but we're giving it our best shot. We met in May 2021 on Omegle, even got disconnected because of a bug, but he kept on looking for me, and we got connected again a few minutes later. We met last October because stuff was quite complicated, but since then, at least once a month, for around 1 week. He's now my love, my boyfriend, my best friend, somehow my diary, and sometimes my therapist and I try to be the same for him. This summer, we'll spend 2 months together, and I just can't wait for it. I met my now husband in a video game. He killed my troops twice, and I was pissed and gave him a piece of my mind in a private chat. Apparently, that got him curious. And now, 3.5 years later, almost we're married and having a baby. Woo! He's from Canada, too. It's a great place to visit. You'll have a blast. We met in a Facebook group. We were both married at the time, and nothing flirty or anything happened. The group disintegrated, and we lost touch for about a year. I reached out with a question about the group, and we got to talking and realized we'd both gotten divorced and were single. We just couldn't stop talking to each other, and now, a couple of years later, we're together. We met on OkCupid during the pandemic. I saw him first, swiped right, because he is really cute. A few hours later, I got a match with him, but he didn't send out a message, so I took it upon myself and just messaged him. We stayed chatting on the app for a few days where we had very scattered chats because of the time difference and the fact that we were both working full time. I loved our conversations already and wanted to know more about him. So we moved away from the app and on to iMessages. During our now much more frequent messaging, we found out that we both like to play video games, and so I gave him my username, and we agreed on finding some games to play together. However, before that would happen, we had a bit of a falling out. We both had crappy days. But after a large apology from me, the falling out was my fault, and expressing how amazing it makes me feel talking to him, we actually managed to get on our consoles together. This was the first time we ever talked to each other, and I was really nervous. Gaming together became more frequent, and FaceTime calls as well when he asked me to be his girlfriend. We had also talked about meeting, and he said that he wants to come visit me. He knew I wanted to visit him, but COVID restrictions prevented me from entering his country. We had the most amazing 10 days traveling through my country. In September 2021, he met my parents for a few hours. Then for Christmas 2021, I went to visit him and met all his family. Fast forward to today, we see each other about every 6 months. It's mostly me traveling to him because I get more vacation time, have less responsibilities in my country, and I like being in his country much more. I am counting down the days to fly over and spend his birthday with him, and we constantly talk about plans on closing the gap ASAP. We're both into F1. We were both following the same F1 meme page on Instagram. Said page asked if any of the followers would be interested in a WhatsApp group to talk about F1. We both answered yes. We both ended up in that group. We started talking in private because we were going to attend the same race, independently from each other though. We went to the race and both sat in pouring rain for 8 hours. The race was canceled, Spa 2021. We never stopped talking in private and fell in love. Not only did I gain people to talk about F1 with, I also gained real friends, and I found the love of my life. And we're visiting our first F1 race together this year. I love the internet sometimes. I met my boyfriend on a language app. I was not looking for a boyfriend, but I'm really happy with how things are going. We have 10 months together, and from the start, I had nothing bad to say about our relationship, only, of course, the distance. We met in 2018 in a random match of Rainbow Six Siege. I normally don't use voice chat because, as a girl, it usually garners a lot of toxicity. But he was super funny, so we both started chatting back and forth, and he invited me to his Discord server. We started playing together all the time, and even before seeing what he looked like, I had a bit of a crush on him, and then when I saw him, it sealed the deal for me. We started chatting, and it slowly became more and more romantic. We'd watch shows together and played all sorts of games. In August of 2020, we were finally able to meet in person, and then saw each other 3 more times in person before we moved in together and closed the gap in December of 2021. Living together felt so natural and amazing, and we got engaged February 18th, 2023, and got married 10 days later on the 28th. I couldn't imagine my life without him. I met her because she's my best friend's cousin, and he told me about her. When I saw a picture of her, I DM'd her on Instagram, and now we are in love, and I get to visit her next week, and my heart is pounding with excitement. Met my boyfriend in a paranormal Facebook group. We hit it off talking about EMF ghost boxes in May of 2021. Though I was married to someone else at the time, the feelings just blossomed, despite me trying my hardest to just see him as a mate. He was always there for me to vent to, and he flirted hard with me, which, when you're that deprived of human connection in your marriage, I welcomed. Fast forward to September 2022, I'd left my husband due to DV, and he was the only one I wanted. Been together for 9 months now, and it's bliss. I don't have to worry about him cheating or using my BPD as a weapon. It sucks, though, because there's a 15-plus hour time difference, so finding time to talk and sext is hard. For some people, you have to be stuck in a shit marriage to realize fully what you want and need. I was about to start traveling the world. I made a Tinder account to find some nice people, so I'm not completely alone when visiting places. It was also a couple of weeks after breaking up with my 7-year abusive ex. And she liked my profile. We started talking, and I told her about my plans. She joked that if I ever visited Thailand, she could be my guide. I joked that I'm checking the tickets. Long story short, I'm in Thailand now. She's sleeping next to me. We still have 1.5 months together. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. If you like this content and have not already, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and share your favorite Taylor's Place content.